connections in that area.
One moment. That particular vortex has a link interdimensionally, one of them anyway, to the place, the dimension that the Sasquatch often go to remove themselves from your reality. One moment. One moment. One moment. The Ozark area is particularly strong as a interdimensional connection to a few very specific kinds of alternate or parallel realities that the Sasquatch take advantage of to remove themselves from what you consider to be your typical reality. There are sort of a network of tunnels in space-time there that can be traversed by those who know how to do so. There are many comings and goings interdimensionally in that area. Sort of very much like a Swiss cheese vortex, so to speak. Does that help?
Yes, absolutely. Is there a particular hotspot where if I wanted to go and try to connect with them that I could maybe meditate in, or a particular Sasquatch name I could meditate on?
You could call Tsemiquest. Can you repeat that?
Tsemiquest.
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 Yes, Tsemiquest, sorry.
Yes, Tsemiquest.
Yes.
You can use your own instincts to pick the spot, but it should be a spot that is mountainous and forested. Do you have access to something like that?
Yes, yes.
So, do you have yourself a favorite spot that is mountainous and forested?
There are a few.
Do you have one that stands out?
Yes, Mount Nebo.
All right. Go and in a meditative state, allow yourself to open up to the vibration of Tsemiquest and see what happens.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome.
I have just a few more questions. I have a large birthmark on the outside of my right wrist that to me it resembles a spaceship. Is that just a mere coincidence, or is it there to remind me, or is it a symbol of certain ET connections that I have?
You have asked the question and answered it yourself.
Excellent. That's what I thought. It's just good to have that validation sometimes. Does somebody with amalgam or mercury fillings in their teeth, having that in the body, does that create disruptions in somebody's ability to be able to make other dimensional connections?
It depends upon your belief system.
Okay. You've said before that it's not time to reveal any further information about Rh negative blood type, so I was just curious if it was time for a little bit more.
No.
Okay, fair enough. One final question. So I've been experimenting a little bit with tones in the ears and vibrations on a vibration plate, and just trying to sort of sync those up for, let's say, if I do 40 hertz in the ears, I know that sort of helps with the neurological system. And the vibrating plate maybe is also vibrating at 40 hertz. Having those two together, does that amplify and accelerate the effects?
It can, and 40 hertz, remember, is the threshold, the first threshold level neurologically in the brain that represents the gamma frequency, which is the channeling frequency.
Okay, that was my last question. Ha'atu, Bashar.
And to you, good day, Aveo.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cheryl. I'm from Toronto, and I would like to ask Bashar his insights on ableism and discrimination of the disabled. while society is going in the direction of inclusion of all minorities, the disabled are still left behind and in fact very rarely mentioned. If you could also address the hatred of disabled by many and society seeing them of no value. Many people get profoundly upset when they have to do something different for a disabled person. I see a future where everybody is included and nobody is other. Their differences will be celebrated and nurtured. But I feel and see disabled are still being left behind, and I'm having trouble with ableism, discrimination, and the outright hatred by some. Thank you. I have aphasia from stroke. I did pretty good. Thank you.
Well, first we would change the definition that many people are starting to use on your planet. Instead of disabled, differently abled. Many people will make choices from spirit to come through in a way and have an experience that creates them to be differently abled. Now, many people express the idea of hatred for this or discomfort from this because they are afraid, because it represents an idea to them of what might happen to them, and they do not wish to experience those things that they see other people experiencing. Other people who are strong enough and brave enough to limit themselves in certain ways for the purpose of finding other ways of doing things, other ways to move forward, creative, imaginative ways of being differently abled. This again expands the human experience and allows humans to see that there are many different ways to accomplish things, and that no one needs to be afraid that it's going to happen to them, but even if it does, they still then will have made the choice and an agreement on a certain level to express to the rest of humanity that you have a great potential to do things beyond the normal, beyond the typical, and that sometimes being differently abled brings this out in force, makes it very obvious when people have the creativity and imagination to overcome what appears to be a disability and truly express it as a different ability, something to explore for all humanity. It is of great service to everyone if they will take it for the lesson that it is.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day to you.
Hi. I had a question about miracles on the website. There's a quote from you that said miracles are not the exception to the rule. They are the natural order of things. Could you give more of a definition or understanding of that, please?
Well, the idea is that in your society, typically, people look at what they call a miracle as being an unusual phenomenon, something unexpected, unusual, very rare. And it is a coming together of certain ideas, experiences, influences, appearances, objects, so on and so forth, that seem to be out of the norm, seem to be beyond what you consider your typical reality to be capable of producing. But the idea is that you're creating your reality every single moment anyway. You are creating miracles all the time just by having a physical reality experience all the time, constantly, as a continuous experience. So the idea is the same, shall we say, mechanism used to create any reality experience that you are having is the same mechanism used to create what you typically refer to as miracles. It's just that for some reason at that moment, synchronistically, your mind and consciousness is open to the fact that that is being created through alignment, through synchronicity, as a relevant experience that stands out because of the meaning you have infused in it and the reflection it provides for you in a certain direction. But if you start to understand that you're doing this all the time, start to see everything as synchronicity, then you will start to see physical reality as miraculous as it actually is every single moment. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. The Holy Spirit, the Catholics, I'm a Catholic, think of the Holy Spirit as kind of the voice between us and God. Is that what you would call the higher consciousness?
In a sense, yes, although the idea that you give to the concept of the Holy Spirit can also be spirit guides, can also be aspects of all that is. It can act as a conduit no matter what form it takes. It is generally representative of the conduit of connection and communication to all that is. But it can take many forms.
Why is guilt and shame so much a part of our society?
Because you have created a sense and an experience of disconnection from all that is. You have created a sense of disconnection from your self-worth and your self-empowerment. Therefore, what comes with that experience of disconnection, not that you're actually disconnected, because that's not possible, but what comes with the experience of disconnection is the shame that goes with the idea of not belonging, not being connected anymore, considering yourself to be less than and unworthy. And that is simply the side effects that happen from that negative state of being. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Are there any writings that are available that would better reflect the teachings of Jesus?
Yes, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Bashar. I appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Aveo.
Aveo.
Can you give us more information about the specific origins of the African people? Which entities created us? And what are our genetic origins? Also, can you suggest some of the sites of the most significant vortices and interdimensional portals on the continent? Thank you.
We will start with that, and you can always find the master portal at Kilimanjaro. As we have said many times, there were many stations in the Middle East and the African continents that had to do with the Anunnaki creating the genetic blending of their genes along with Homo erectus and creating Homo sapiens. The idea is that most of them did originate in the African continent, but some originated in the Middle Eastern area as well, and even a few over in the idea of South America as well. But the majority came from experiments done by the Anunnaki, extraterrestrials, by adding their genetic material to the idea of the beings, the hominid beings that evolved on your Earth naturally, that you refer to usually as Homo erectus in general. And this comes from the idea of the African area for the most part.
Hello. Hi.
Good day.
Good day. It is my question is about extraterrestrial contact. I've had contact, and it started in 2008, sort of with a tattoo, a Nazca line tattoo. Following summer, I see it as a crop circle, or the crop circle appears in Europe. I didn't find out about that till after the fact. Fast forwarding, whole bunch of lights in the sky, October 2010. Fast forwarding from there, 2011, I chase them. I'm in my car and I'm just chasing it. And the orb is just this yellow orb. It is right before dusk, as it's sort of like, I get to an intersection and it just like pulses. And it's like immediately dusk hits and it turns orange, then it explodes. And this explosion was completely silent. It's like there's a still pond, you throw a pebble into it, that light, that sort of like ripple, like one large ripple of light is what it was, like a pebble into a still pond. They communicated with me telepathically. They sounded in the frequency range of guinea pigs. They were speaking and I was seeing purple or blue and red flashes of light in my third eye. They told me that I had too much male ego after that. At the very end in English, but the whole language was like guinea pigs, that frequency range, like it sounded like that. Of course, yes, very intelligent. I want to know about them to start.
Well, you're part of the idea of the hybridization agenda, the idea of the evolution of the Earth becoming the sixth hybrid race. And you're having experiences that help you remember your connections and the agreements you made to be on the Earth at this time, to experience these things and to expand your consciousness and move forward in life. These things are either probes or they are representative of different spiritual level of beings or interdimensional beings when they appear as orbs in that way. but you are getting constant reminders of the idea to move forward in your passions, to move forward as who you are and act on the things that can be of best benefit and service to the rest of humanity. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, my entire life is to service humanity. That's all I do, day in and day out, is to help
In what
other
way?
people and to put them.
In what
Well,
way?
I'm a teacher for one.
All right.
So
Of what?
of music.
All right. So vibration and resonance, as we were speaking of before.
Right. So everything that I do is to help other people. I'm always putting the needs of others above my own.
It's got to be
Not
equal.
in a sacrificial way, though.
All right.
Because it is my highest joy and pleasure to do so, and therefore doing it brings me in connection with who I really am and my true self. I am
as long as you
happy.
recognize that. As long as you recognize that.
I do not sacrifice myself. No,
All right.
I am pure light and love and kindness. And I
Just checking.
project it, and I know that it helps other people when I do that. And
All right.
that's one of the things that I take value in myself for. ET sort of helped me recognize this with
Yes.
the contact that I've been making with them.
All right.
But
So you're
yes,
connecting to
it is.
hybrids, you're connecting to Sirius energy, and a few others as well.
So you're not the first person that has said Sirius to me. Another medium said Sirius as well.
Yes. It's a very high frequency, which is one of the reasons why sometimes the transmissions sound like guinea pigs to you.
Okay.
It'll translate down through your consciousness, most likely in your dream states or simply in the actions that you take in the direction of your passion. So don't worry about necessarily missing any of it. It's all in there. But being on such a high frequency, it sometimes will simply sound more like a high pitch than anything else. But you're still receiving it.
Okay. Perfect.
Anything
Thank
else?
you. Yes, actually, yes. I was in person walking, and I saw an extraterrestrial. She was pale white. She had red irises. She had sort of like protrusions, I would say, on her temples. I was a little bit aggressive. I was very young. Well, not young, but like early 20s, just, foolish. And I said, I know what you are. And was like giving her a look. And a few weeks after that, I did wake up in a white room with another extraterrestrial that had large red eyes. And we had a communication. It was very cool, positive, but she really showed me like, okay, this is basically how telepathy works.
Yes.
It was only a few minutes, but it was enough for me to like really understand more about like, okay, this is how it's actually functioning.
Yes.
But
Again,
can you tell me about that?
Resonance, alignment. The idea, as we typically refer to it, is telempathy, because you have to align with someone vibrationally to have the same thoughts at the same time. So you're being entrained to realize that it's not that you're reading someone else's mind, it's that you're reading your own mind that happens to be thinking exactly the same thoughts at the same time when you're operating on a similar frequency. And because you had the ability to recognize the precursor being, the idea is that then you were able to continue to have that relationship, at least to some degree, a little bit of an experience of it, in the idea that it is enhancing your recognizing abilities, your ability to recognize those frequencies of those that come from other domains and other realities.
Well, what I don't understand is how I was able to hear my subconscious when she relayed it to me. So I asked her a question, are you telepathic? And then she looked really sad and she projected onto me a whole bunch of insults that I had said to her, but I didn't consciously do that. So, and then of course I heard the two other things, which was yes from her. And then also my question, which was, are you telepathic? So apparently she was able to like show me that when that communication happened, she's hearing way more than I consciously understand.
Absolutely, because on that level, there are no barriers between the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. So this is why it's so important for people to understand how telepathy really works and to understand how clear you need to be so that the so-called stuff in the attic that is squirreled away from earthly experiences doesn't, in a sense, clutter up the idea of the transmission. So you were given a great opportunity to see that telepathy really functions on all levels of the conscious, unconscious, and subconscious mind.
I get it. Okay. Thank you. That does answer my question very well.
All right. Thank you.